You're. There's a mini map at the top right. I'm out of the combat zone, bro. I stuck, didn't it? Freaking her soldier. Oh shit. You went against that? I didn't even see that up there. Shit! Oh. Fuck! Chubbs, that was bullshit. Right like a bitch. Oh, my teammate. Bitch. Where the fuck is that? What even is it? God. Second shot, my bad.
An exclusive investigation in the chaotic days after Hurricane Katrina.
People were shot and killed by New Orleans Police Department.
11 civilians were shot by New Orleans police officers.
Utter lawlessness will not be tolerated.
As rumors circulated about a declaration of martial law.
Just it. What do these fucking pussies do, bro? Set up on the fucking hill with snipers. So they're battling a fucking tank all fucking game.
These are pictures we will remember. some images from Katrina were never seen at all. This video was taken by this man, Istvan Belov, a former law enforcement officer who had come from out of state to assist after the storm.
Can you believe this? This is 9th September. We were on routine foot patrol. I'm looking down towards the riverbank, just to see, if I see anything unusual, and I observed a white vehicle. I yell up to my partner. I go, "You won't believe what's in here. There's dead body. There's looks like a femur right here. I observed the skull. After here, there's the skull. I observed what looked like a bullet wound. Looks like it was shot from the side. There's no question in my mind. This is a premeditated homicide. Absolutely amazing. This body is disintegrated. I mean, that was a hot fire. This is the whole body right here. The magnitude of the way it was destroyed. It was telling a story. I don't want no one ever to find out what I did.
It was 2 years after Belov's discovery when a reporter first came across the story of the burnt remains. ProPublica's A.C. Thompson, then a freelance crime reporter, had come to New Orleans to investigate suspicious deaths in the wake of Katrina. With the support of the Nation Institute, he'd sued to see the public records.
I'd gotten a hold of over 800 autopsies of people who had died in the days after the storm. Most of the treatment was confirmed, but one autopsy was described a badly burned body. And the sheriff still found out. There's no cause of death. The line of the had been written was blank. I found out that he'd stayed in St.
Oh no, oh no.
And he felt like he needed attention for his brother. So I got out the car, touched his neck, and see he still had a pulse.
Tyler reached one of our friends, he had a pulse, so I grabbed him, and we fell back into the car like this. My mission is to get him to the hospital or somebody who can help him. But Will Tanner thought the hospital was too far. He didn't think Glover would make it. Instead, Tanner drove a mile to Havens Elementary School.
I knew a day the school had to have a police town out there.
In the consecutive training, the SWAT team
I'm not in the motherfucking combat zone, bro. What the fuck?
It's here the members of this unit would gather for their daily orders, often assigned to go on border patrol.
When he first hit me, I faked like I was knocked out. So he said, get up, you piece of shit. So he grabbed me right here, and his fingers almost touched. I like the black dog, he let me go just in time.
They hit me twice. Hit me with the right
Horse! Horse!
Tanner's car, with Henry Glover still in the backseat. It's been 5 years since Henry Glover died. Edward is still haunted by the experience.
I tried to figure it out. I used to come out here and just sit and try to redo the whole thing, and I just can't figure it out. That's the way it be. Sure? Positive. He be good. I mean, I grew up in really right. I mean, fighting like 3-4 times a day. But I never got beat how this man beat me like hell around like that. Kicking me in my face, spitting in my face, whenever he felt like it.
It's been 5 years. You're sure this is...
I'm positive. I put my life on the line. That's the thing. Y'all never hit this.
The officer Edward King Finger was Lieutenant Wayne Sherman, then second in command of the NOPD SWAT team. Within the ranks of the police department, Sherman's status was almost legendary. A cop's cop, courageous and fearless. That was certainly the reputation he had earned in the first days of the campaign. Lieutenant Sherman was interviewed by Frontline at Haven School.
Look at his face, his eyes, and you see the determination, but you can also see the fatigue. Police officers in the first group, they were basically working 24/7.
Hurricane Katrina hit the New Orleans Police Department.
Katrina hit August 20, sometime midday on August 30th, we lost completely communications.
Warren Riley was second in command of the NOPD at the time of the storm.
We were unprepared. The city was covered by water, and power lights. And we lost the command and control of
Run right up on us. Oh yeah.
Looting in New Orleans. Shots have been fired. Downtown New Orleans became a looter's free-for-all, representing a priceless breakdown of law and order.
But early media reports were exaggerated.
There was chaos on Canal Street for a period of time. That is good. But the news
Armed with stolen weapons roaming the streets and firing at police. There may be shootouts soon enough.
Stories now known to be untrue were told by the highest-ranking NOPD officer.
Fucking.
Then it's been shooting in the helicopter.
And then repeated across the news.
How do you explain snipers firing on a medevac helicopter trying to get the sick to safety?
And I shouldn't
Fuck, man! Fuck up! Dirty ass fucking tryhards.
On August 30th, Deputy Chief Riley met with Mayor Nagin and passed on another unconfirmed report.
I heard an officer request on the news say, I need more ammo, we need more ammo.
I can stay up here, but I can't. Can I? No, of course not. Of course not. It's just fucking annoying, man.
Someone else said that after
Pretty broad.
This guy that cod Tommen.
Orders to the NOPD file became even more uncertain when Mayor Nagin it was at the end of the storm, and he had just been told by his chief of police that a police officer had been shot in the head. This story, we now know, was true.
Our police at that point were completely focused on search and rescue, and here they were being shot at, and it made the mayor furious. And that's when he said, we need to declare martial law.
Tonight, in a rare move, Titania's Supreme Court of the United States, martial law declared.
But his deputy chief of police said that was confused.
That martial law was in place, and then I heard those that know it was not.
But what we were doing is strengthening the appearance of the law. That's what I'm talking about. And I asked them to show them. We need to make a very strong statement to calm the media down and to calm the society.
There are officers being deployed into New Orleans today to restore order. Looting and other lawlessness will not be tolerated.
I want to be strong. I want it to be clear.
These groups know how to shoot and kill, and I expect they will.
Oh man!
We have authority by martial law to shoot looters.
Fucking my controller not working, dude.
Captain Scott initially told us he didn't recall the incident and declined to comment. Scott has since hired an attorney who told Frontline that the rest of the tape puts the statement in context, but he refused to show it to us. Have the rules on the use of deadly force changed? Other officers said orders spread from cop to cop. Quote, do what you gotta do. Anything goes. Take the city back.
As I was reporting on Henry Glover, I found evidence of other troubling incidents involving the police in the days after the storm. The first of them happened here on this overpass on September 1st. Just like the Glover story, this one involved the SWAT team that was camped out at Hayden School. Captain Jeff Wynn and his Lieutenant Dwayne Sherman were told that someone had hijacked a water truck. The story they heard was that thieves were robbing, raping, and killing people. Wynn and Sherman rolled out through the flooded streets, and near the Superdome, they spotted 3 water trucks. They said a man near one of the trucks had a gun. Both officers took aim. These pictures show Dwayne Sherman at the scene. They hit the man in the torso, but he survived. His name was Keenan McCann, and when the cops apprehended him, there was no gun to be found. The police theorized that he might have thrown it away off the overpass. Keenan McCann was lucky that day. He survived getting shot. He's since died, but his brother and sister-in-law were with him on the bridge. They said that he didn't have a gun, that he was stranded there with his family.
What do you think happened?
What if they happened and I think they just came out there and got the wrong people, the wrong person, mistakenly shot Keenan for nothing. That's what happened. If he had a gun, why did they bring him in Baton Rouge to the hospital? Brought him there, unhandcuffed. He stayed there for a minute, then they cut him loose and let him go free. The system don't work like that.
The local prosecutor never brought any charges against Keenan McCann. McCann was the first of at least 10 questionable shootings of civilians by police in the week after Katrina. It was the very next day that Edward and Will Tanner say they were beaten by police as Henry Glover bled in the back seat of Tanner's car.
And what was he wearing at the time?
He had the tactical pants.
Like the dark army kind of uniform?
The blue, like a bluish black.
Back across the river that night, there was another shooting. This one at the New Orleans Convention Center. Danny Brumfield was shot in the back by an NOPD officer. The next day, a 41-year-old drifter named Matthew McDonald was killed by the police at this intersection near the French Quarter. Also by a single gunshot to the back. And finally, there was the incident at Danziger Bridge, which has become the most well-known of the shootings by police after Katrina. At the time, the Danziger incident seemed to be a victory for the police in their fight against lawlessness. It was September 4th when word went out over the radio that officers were under fire near the bridge.
The radio just came alive. People screaming, gunshots in the background.
We could hear a running gun battle. We could hear officers calling for assistance. We could hear officers saying perpetrator down.
It sounded like World War III.
By the time the gunfire stopped, 6 people had been shot by the police.
The general consensus was good guy 1, bad guy 0.
When we found situations where the police actually won, you did a little cha-ching because finally they didn't get us, we got them. If indeed people had been shooting at police officers, then so be it if our police officers shot them to stop them. Of course, that was not the case, we now know.
It would take years for the truth to be revealed about what actually happened on Danziger Bridge. But in 2008, I was still on the hunt for what had happened to Henry Glover. His brother Edward had last seen him bleeding in the backseat of Will Tanner's car. The car was then driven off by a police officer and was followed by another vehicle, allegedly driven by Dwayne Sherman. Tanner's car ended up here, just a mile away on the levee.
Take a video. I mean, extra.
1 week later, Istvan, the guy with the video camera, found the burned car and remains.
I'm looking back towards that transformer. It was about this distance.
At the time, he says no one seemed to care.
Now, you were talking to law enforcement folks on a regular basis. Did you bring this up with them?
Oh, absolutely. You know, told the federal authorities, told the military, told NOPD, told the state police. Everybody knew that there was a body down there, but it wasn't a concern.
The remains stayed on the levee another week before finally being taken to the coroner.
What we got was a body bag full of bones.
Frank Minyard is the coroner for New Orleans.
Cause of death, we don't know. I would guess it would be fire. But, you know, what happened? Was he shot? Was he hit on the head? Did he shoot himself? Did he catch himself on fire? All of those kind of things, we can't say. There's nothing on the body bag that identifies where it came from. There's no tags. And how we got there. We never knew the body that those bones came out of the car.
But forensic pathologist Kevin Whaley remembers it differently. Whaley came down from New York to help with autopsies after Katrina. He examined Glover's remains.
We took the shoulder roll out.
He says Minyard's own people told him where the remains had come from.
I was told that found a burnout car in this set of remains. And then for forensic pathologists, I mean, that's going to be all you guys get all Took a car prior to the scene. All the organs were fine, almost pristine. He didn't do a full autopsy just like he would anybody else. Just stayed on. Skull here. Most of the neck is there, the base of the skull.
By the time the remains had gotten to it, Glover's skull was gone.
But yeah, there's most of the skull there.
We don't know why the skull went missing, but it's possible that somebody got rid of the skull to make it harder to identify this guy.
Sure. Or if there's injuries in the skull that you didn't want someone to see. I mean, there'd be a whole lot of reasons. Or it could just have been misplaced, but that would be... That in itself is sort of suspicious. You don't just misplace a skull.
There's a skull.
All that together is just highly suspicious for foul play for a homicide.
But Coroner Frank Minyard never classified the He left that line on Glover's autopsy blank.
Forensic pathologist named Everett Whaley, Virginia.
Minyard spoke to frontline reporter Lowell Bergman.
He said, "My first reaction was that it was a homicide. When I heard he was found and burned in a car, I thought that was a classic homicide scenario. We kill someone and burn the body to get rid of the evidence."
Well, I
think he said he found metal fragments when the x-ray were there.
They did have one of the bones that have some metal fragments, which you will find when a body is burned in a car. You will find some metal fragments, correct? I really can't talk any more about this because it's a case that's active now. And as far as anything else that we might have or bring up, we have to save that, for the proper time. So you understand, I cannot comment on what you just said.
At the time, in 2005, Minyard's blank line meant case closed. The NOPD told me they never did their own investigation into the remains and knew nothing else about Henry Glover. But in my own investigation, I got a break. A source came to me with information about what had happened to Henry Glover, and the source had photographs. The pictures show the whole crime scene, and clearly show the skull that never made it to the coroner. And my source told me something else. The photos were taken by the NOPD, by officers at the 4th District Station. It turns out that the spot on the levee where the car and Henry's body had been torched is barely a block away from that station. Henry's mother, Edna, didn't know that the burnt car was still just a block away when she came to this station, trying to get police attention. It was 2.5 months after the car had been burned. Edna Glover still didn't know exactly what had happened to her son, but she told the police an alarming story. How her son had been shot. How her other son, Edward, had taken Henry to the police compound at Hayden School for help, and instead had been beaten by police. And how police officers had taken the vehicle with her son in it. The police recorded her story as a missing persons report and filed it away.
They told my mother that they were going to get back with her. They was going to come out to her house and talk to her, but no one did. No one called us back. We didn't get any answers.
Father, we come now, Lord, asking you that you will keep this sister this month.
It would be another 8 months before Henry's remains were finally identified through DNA evidence and returned to the family for burial.
There's one who have not come home, nor is he above ground.
I didn't know that they burned her. My mother told me this like a day before funeral. So I think I'm going to kiss him and say goodbye.
Thank you, Lord Master, for bringing that situation to an end. Amen. Amen.
For the next year, the trail on Henry Glover went cold. In the fall of 2009, Frontline and ProPublica teamed up with the New Orleans Times-Picayune to expand the investigation. Two crime reporters there had been breaking stories about the Danziger bridge shootings, which had attracted the attention of federal
Officers say there was an exchange of gunfire on the bridge. The surviving people said that they never fired any guns or had any guns.
Publicly, the men under investigation had the full support of their fellow officers.
A lot of these officers are fair investigations. If they did something that in retrospect seemed inappropriate, they were just trying to deal with the hand they've been dealt.
Danziger was the big story, but the Times-Picayune reporters had also been looking into the Glover case. They had a simple question: who shot Henry Glover?
There was all these different stories running around, and when I talked to Henry Glover's former girlfriend, who had Henry Glover Jr., who's now 13, she heard a story about another family member shooting him, and these are all crazy allegations.
I had my own theory about what had happened that day at the strip mall. I thought maybe a store owner had shot him to protect his property. But really, there was only one person who could tell me what happened. Henry's friend, Bernard Calloway, who was with Henry at the mall. Bernard would never agree to go on camera, but early in 2010, he finally talked to me by phone.
What Bernard said was Henry was stealing something. Henry was picking up goods that had been stolen from this shopping center. And they were in a piece of luggage right here, and that a relative wanted him to pick up these stolen goods, candles, pots, and pans. And Bernard and Henry came up here in a white pickup truck. And they parked it right here. They get out to pick up this stolen stuff, and Bernard says, "Here, leave now," and a shot. He couldn't see the person's face, but he decided it was a police officer that had done the shooting. By the guy's actions, the shot, the leave now, and his voice, he thought it was a police officer. He said, "I knew it was a cop. It was right near the police station."
It turned out that Bernard was right about the police station. Up here on the second floor of the mall, what's now a tattoo parlor and hair salon, was in fact a police substation at the time of the training. You can still see the fake police decals. The NOPD had no reports of a police shooting that day. But my colleagues at the Times-Picayune found that wasn't true. The evidence? A police report of the incident that had been buried for more than 4 years. It said there had been a shooting that day, and it involved a 42-year-old rookie cop named David Warren. On September 2nd, 2005, the day Henry Glover was shot, Warren was on duty at the strip mall police substation. The report gave his version of events.
He said in the police report he came out of this office because he heard a ruckus, he heard a truck being driven really kind of fast and erratically. He thought these men in the truck were menacing him. He was scared for his life, so he opened fire. My sense would be that Officer Warren is coming over here, he's coming this way, looking down and firing. He says he doesn't know if he hit anybody, he doesn't know if anybody was injured. It's a short distance. If you are from here to there, I think it would be hard not to know whether you hit the person or not. It's pretty clean line of sight right down there.
Henry had been shot, Bernard told me, right next to the truck.
What do you think?
The truck was over here.
The truck was
here.
Edward's memory of what he saw that day made Warren's account even more confounding.
The truck was here.
The truck was right here?
The truck was here. Parked this way.
So the truck was right
here. Here.
This way. So if the truck is parked right here, and the guy is up there, you're probably going to see if he shot someone standing right here. I thought he was further out that way.
No, he was
After Henry Glover was shot, he stumbled about 50 yards down the street. That's where Will Tanner picked him up, and then raced to Havens Elementary School, where Tanner thought they would give Glover medical attention.
I mean, when you picked him up, did you think he had a chance of living?
Yeah, he had a chance. He still was talking, and he still, he still was breathing. So I thought maybe I'd give him some medical attention, like he might be able to, point the person I was shot. These guys and Boys in Blue was supposed to help out, All of a sudden I seen the difference of Boys in Blue.
So if you'd known he'd been shot by a police officer, you wouldn't have brought him here, probably.
Nah, I wouldn't have brought him here because I knew if I brought him here, I wouldn't stand a snowball chance if I knew he got shot by a cop.
Badass, man.
The men say they were handcuffed and beaten until finally a female officer intervened.
A lady come up, she recognized Tanner. She said, I know him. What did he do? He said, one of the guys said, oh, those niggas over there losing. He said,
They thought that we was losers and everything like that. When they searched my vehicle, they didn't find nothing new or nothing like that. But they was curious.
What do the police at the elementary school say happened there that day? Because of the federal investigation, they wouldn't speak to us for this program. The only account is this unfinished police report that Times Picayune reporter Laura Maggi uncovered. In it, police officers say that when the car drove into the school, it was being driven erratically and being chased by police cars. It says the man in the back seat was already dead, and that the other men refused to cooperate with police. They say they handcuffed the man, but say nothing of any beating. The account says nothing about burning the car or the building, but it does say they drove the car to a levee behind the 4th District Police Station. They say they were securing the body until it could be brought to a makeshift morgue for an autopsy.
The question is, if they indeed did want to secure the body, then why they didn't subsequently come back and write a report and say, hey, we have a shot person, and maybe this person's a crime victim, we should find something out about that.
It turns out that the author of the unfinished Glover report had also signed off on a police account of the incident at Danziger Bridge, a report that federal prosecutors now say was largely fabricated.
Today, 6 New Orleans police officers.
In July, 6 NOPD officers were indicted in the Danziger Bridge case.
Resulting from the federal criminal investigation.
In its investigation, the FBI reconstructed what the police at the scene say happened that day. The incident began when a group of NOPD officers commandeered a budget rental truck to respond to a distress call on the bridge. They say they heard on the radio that officers were under fire. One officer says he fired warning shots out of the truck's window. Almost immediately, the other officers poured out of the truck, guns firing. But federal prosecutors now say there's no evidence the police were under threat. In fact, the police were firing on unarmed civilians, Katrina survivors searching for food and medicine. NOPD officers killed 2 people and wounded 4. Ronald Madison, a 40-year-old mentally disabled man, was shot in the back and then convicted as he was dying. Jose Reyes was 18 at the time. He doesn't know how many times he was shot.
I just felt the pain rush to my arm.
Jose was lucky to survive. His 17-year-old friend James Bissell died in Ecuador. Despite the brutality, it was a confusing time in the country. Says the Python gun was referred to by the detective as a
ham sandwich is a clean gun that we can take and put it in like an O'Hare jeans or breeches or whatever you want to call it. And then let it sit there and get some lint on it. And then you let it sit in there, then you put it in a plastic bag. I carry mine with me. Some people don't. I carry mine with me.
So you carry some former officers we talked to said, hey, this was an underground culture. They would carry around something they call a ham sandwich, and they would plant that ham sandwich at the scene of officer-involved shootings. Did you ever hear anything about that? I mean, over time, this was ham.
I mean, I don't really recall that level of type of conversation. When was the first time you ever heard the term? And that bill of information. You never heard with the NPD, that was not a part of it. I never
Federal prosecutors say Officer David Warren used an assault rifle to shoot and kill Henry Glover. The charge was murder. Warren refused to comment. Prosecutors charged Dwayne Sherman and another officer with using unreasonable force in the beating of Edward King and Will Tanner. Sherman, who refused to comment on the Glover incident, is also charged with setting fire to Will Tanner's car with Henry Glover's body in the back seat. And just as in Danziger, the indictments allege a cover-up.
In two instances, we've seen at least indicators of a cover-up. How far that goes, I honestly don't know.
The indictments charge two officers from the 4th District Station. They say the men knew that Warren had shot Glover. They knew Glover had taken to the Hayden school. They knew Glover's body had been burned on the levee.
Feel when finally somebody from law enforcement came here and said, we want to know what happened. That did. This is come back on the door. And I told her, people out there would go after. She told me she's not promised to get justice. That's wrong. It's wrong. My mind is messed up. Every time I pay everybody in school with a flashback, sometimes I dream about it. I was thinking after a while it go away. It's not going away. I forgive them for themselves. I forgive you. God ain't gonna forgive you for nothing. I forgive you. And I'm trying to give you
card, man. Like, son, this dog that I had in my fucking dog, man. Being serious. Can't drive home. I miss my brother.
I don't know more this shit works. Wow.
Frontline is made possible by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you. With major funding from the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, committed to building a more just, verdant, and peaceful world. Additional funding is provided by the Clark Foundation and by the Frontline Emergency Fund, grants to the Higley family, Scott Nathan, and Laura Miller.
I've said this before, not to say that I'm a blindness about Battlefield
Lord. Walker.
Gadget I know since when he was kid. First time he come to our gym and he trained with my father. My father always pressed now for me, Gadget is not only he's my brother,
Little motherfucker.
family. Habib is like my older brother. I grew with these guys. We're almost 15 years together. I'm very, very happy for his success, the way how he shine. Everybody very impressed about the way how he stay on his hand. It's very impressive. But actually really on the boxing. The way he attack with opponents, going to body head. He's a very big boxer. Knockout fight, of course, for me, this is priority. I understand how the business works. I understand why people pay for watching fight. I know what they want. And I wanna make big career, big legacy for me. For him, it was one of the biggest moments in his career, to become world champion. It's not only for him, for legacy, for our gym, for my father's legacy. This is because like a very, very big moment. Winning 2 years in the PFL season. This is two people. Last year is not like it, and I one of the best lightweight fighters in the world.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, our nights light up with the kind of energy that just feels right. So find your rhythm and get in the groove. Come explore new places and fresh possibilities, and book your stay at visitspc.com. You want to see what's right for you. With a personalized feed, you do. See what you like.
What's going on, guys? It's Jen. Back here on some more Battlefield 6, and last night they ended up adding a new game mode in here called King of the Hill, which I mean is pretty self-explanatory. So we're gonna play that. I also got my settings dialed in a little bit on controller. I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable. I'm gonna be using the single most broken thing in this game as far as weapons go, the N878 shotgun. This thing, I am sure that you have already been done by this thing multiple times. This shotgun is out of control. It's incredible. It's got insane range. It does sometimes have a weird inconsistency, but maybe I'm just missing, or maybe like the server is doing something weird. I don't know. My game's running like shit right now. What's happening? I'm hitching every second. I turned on my FPS stuff to see the dips, and I was getting crazy like stutters. That was the first time I ever felt any kind of like weird performance issues in the game. I also tweaked some settings around. You know what's crazy? This game looks incredible on all of the lowest settings possible. It still looks incredible. I don't get it. I don't know if I just rejoined the same game, but that's fine. So I made some adjustments to my settings. I had a whole bunch of people adding me, quoting me, and stuff like that with a bunch of other people's like settings videos. I basically have like a Frankenstein version of multiple setting videos I've watched. All of them are always using the uniform soldier aiming, which I really do not like. I'm not saying it's bad or able to flick within the scope. But then, once I started going for all these ammo challenges and stuff, that means I was able to use a whole bunch of different weapons. Don't need me to be flicking like that. I need to stay on target. Holy shit, look at that. We were aiming for a long time until we were, say I got like 20 sensitivity. I'm now on like a 10 to 12 sensitivity instead of 20. But my muscle memory still sticks with the sniper rifle, so I lowered my overall stuff to make me more accurate with all of the other weapons, the full-autos and stuff, except the sniper rifle. So I specifically need the per-zoom settings. You cannot have per-zoom settings if you have the uniform aiming thing. So anytime anyone was trying to help me, they wouldn't understand what it was that I was doing. If I start overshooting, undershooting, whatever, I adjust from that point. And that's what I did. I think I got, at the very least, I like the feel of my aiming. I will not be crying. Shit has been super fun. I've been excited to play it when I wake up. It is great. It is Battlefield. There are some issues here and there, but like not necessarily from me. This shotgun is probably the strongest weapon in the game. It just feels like shit to dive in this thing. Okay, I changed some of my like marker colors around and stuff to make things more clear. Gunplay on this game feels incredible. The gameplay I've seen from a lot of people, man, people shots are smooth as fuck on this game. Fuck! I saw that Tim ended up tweeting a video of people getting up like into the mountains over. It's not on this map. Well, it actually is on this map, but it's in like the bigger roads or whatever. But basically up here in the back, climbing into the mountain, not on the mountain. I mean, literally you fall through the rocks, and you can basically use it as like invulnerable cover. You can shoot through it, you can poke your head out, whenever you're close to dying, you get shot at, you just hit your head right back into the rock. This map, not so great for it, but again, still, this shotgun and this mode work together. I do wish I could hear footsteps a little bit better, personally. Usually in Call of Duty, I'm not a fan of like big loud footsteps and stuff, but in a game like this where there's just a ton of sound, and the spawns are not like a set thing where they're not nearly as controllable, I feel like the footsteps should be a little bit easier to recognize. I get it, or we're not going to hear the footsteps, I think, again, I understand. There is also a clip going around of people that manage to somehow get like hacks and cheats and whatever. Again, there's a whole bunch of people going in on it and stuff and saying like, oh, the critical level stuff doesn't make any difference. I have all this stuff and all that
God damn, bro!
Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Jen. We're back here over on some more Warzone Verdansk. 5 a.m. You can see it right up there in the top left, right on the dot. This is part of the early morning / late night spectating series. We spectate some of the most questionable beings on the planet. The skill-based matchmaking system is as loose as possible right here early in the morning because there are less players online to pick from, so you end up getting a wide variety of a bunch of different players. You see some good players, some bad players, some weird players. So if you guys want some more of this, let me know down in the comment section by leaving a like on this video. I don't even want to show that. I killed him, so I meleeed it. I almost died. Okay, so this is the line that people went across right here. So I imagine people probably went hospital. Started out here, people probably dropped down into downtown in the hospital over here, Superstore as well. This is a really hot spot. So I'm going to try to fly over here towards hospital and see if I can find anybody slide canceling or being active at the very least. We've had some spectating videos where we got to see some very inactive players, I'll just say that. Really reminiscent of the early Verdansk days. So even though this update is not exactly like how it was, it's definitely closer than I thought that they could make it, to be honest with you. Okay, surely somebody has to be up here. Did I just die? Okay, I'm just going to throw myself down a hole or some shit. What the fuck? I'm sorry, my friend. Okay, let's see who we spectate. Do we spectate the guy about the exact kind of player I don't... Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Jen. Back here on some more bad...
We're fully staffed. We're under our emergency operations plan, so we're only, and we've been working with the police department, so we're going to keep our prisoners where they belong.
As the wind and water bear down on the buildings, guards locked inmates in their cells and abandoned their posts. The prison, full of not only violent convicts, but also suspects awaiting trial and juveniles as young as 10, was plunged into complete darkness as backup generators failed. For the next 3 days, the inmates would be forced to fend for their own, with no food, no water, and no idea if anyone was ever coming to evacuate them. Now, 16 years later, many of the hurricane-damaged prison buildings have been demolished. However, this tower, known as the Community Correction Center, still stands. It's become a haven for scrappers and attackers, but still, signs of the struggle that once occurred here remain visible. Join us as we venture inside and see what's left.
I know where to go. They surrounded me.
This portion of today's video is sponsored by Brightlight. With Brightlight, you know the exact type of olives and food I've taken taste a lot better than strangers slow Brightlight sends you refined extra virgin olive oils. The weight is perfect for foods like pasta, bread, and baked potatoes, while alive is in spinach and salads, kale and greens, hummus, and baked goods. I also received hardwood, where cherries and olives adds an extra layer of flavor and spice. For my roasted broccoli, I use a combination of olives and artichoke. Alive will give it a crisp flavor and taste, and every other eat just the right amount. These oils are perfect for elevating any dish you prepare, regardless of your cooking level. They also make great gifts and become an everyday look and enjoy grandmother. Start the year off right with Brightland's high-quality drawings. Don't miss out and get 10% off when you click on the link in the description. Before we continue, it's important to note that many of the facts surrounding what happened here in the days following Hurricane Katrina are disputed, particularly by the Sheriff's Department. However, 400 units gave independent testimonials following the events, and I found the vast majority of their stories to be in complete alignment. My accounting of events later on in this episode will be based on experiences that occurred repeatedly with a significant amount of testimonies. I'll include a link to the 400 testimonials in the description if anyone wants to see it themselves. As we ventured inside, we didn't know much of the building's harrowing history, but things would start to be uncovered as we explored. There's cops everywhere around here.
Wow, dude. Oh my god.
This whole hallway is all computers.
There's nothing interesting back here. Unless you really like 90s technology. Like Casio. It's just a label maker for printing onto CDs.
All the drywall's cut off at the same height.
That's interesting. Vandalism. Just crazy. We know people who were here a year and a half, 2 years ago. The place was mint. Went downhill fast. But I don't really think you can blame it being posted on social media and stuff, really. It's just the fact it's in New Orleans and it's wide open. This is what happened. Old smart board. Is this a suburban military? That is. Sure looks like one. It's a nice one. Yep. There it is. Herman Miller logo. All these rappers hauling metal out of here. They don't know that the real treasure is right here. About face cover. There's stairs here. Alright, let's go upstairs. There's definitely going to be cells in this building. This floor doesn't look like it has one. This X-ray cartridge. Wolf X-ray. There's bars in here. Okay, now we're in like prison level. I don't know if this is a jail or a prison. It's pretty big, so that makes me think it would be a prison. Actually, but
This is chapel, conference, but they're all pretty strict.
yeah, it's strict up. There's some buttons here, probably to open doors. Day room 1 and wards 1, 2, 3 in isolation. And check out this one. This door says restraint on it. the normal ward first, and then we'll check out the restraint one. This also has isolation. There's beds in here. Wow. Bunks. Triple high. Yeah. It's like almost 30 people they would have had in this one tiny room. That's crazy. Yeah. Just as many bunks in here. Is this it again? Yeah, this is a room with just one bed. Yeah. Yeah, this feels pretty depressing in here. Terrible. This one you at least got a window, barely, to another room. It's some connection to the outside world at least. Damn, these doors are serious. Look, they can even close off these windows in the door.